Good evening. It is 6:30 p.m. and I would like to call the May 13th, 2022 special board meeting of the Niles, Maine District Library Board to order. Cyndi, would you please call the roll?
Sorry, just let me get organized here. So Margaret will be down. She's just finishing up the board packet for next Wednesday, so she'll be down in a few minutes. Let's see if I can remember this order. Carolyn Derblick.
Here.
Trustee McCullough.
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld. Here. Trustee Rosansky.
Here.
Trustee Olson.
Here.
And Trustee Keene.
Here.
Thank you.
Can I ask if you wrote down the time?
6:30.
Thank you. Because I didn't hear it mentioned, that's why I'm asking.
It was mentioned, but
It might have been mentioned,
I'm
but
glad you asked.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, next on the agenda, number 3, Pledge of Allegiance. Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will reiterate the rules for our board meetings. As board president
Point of order.
and presiding officer, it is my responsibility to preserve and maintain decorum at all times during official meetings of the library board.
Point of
As
order.
such, this board will not tolerate outbursts and interruptions during our meetings. I am asking that each member of the public respect that and to conduct yourself accordingly. If, on the other hand, you do interfere with the orderly conduct of the meeting or you persist in disorderly, disruptive conduct, I will have you removed from the meeting. Public participation and comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of the agenda consistent with the library rules. Remarks shall be made from the speaker's podium only. Abusive and profane comments will not be permitted and will promptly be ruled out of order. If you persist, you will no longer be allowed to speak. The board vests in me, as the board president, the authority to terminate the remarks of speakers who fail to adhere to the rules. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the library policies and other rules as may be necessary for the efficient and orderly conduct of the meeting. All public comments shall be addressed to the board as a whole, and no comments shall be addressed to individual members of the board, library staff, or other members of the public body. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. Cyndi, would you please call the first
She's
person?
getting the paperwork now.
Elliot Osherman.
I just want to state for the record, public comment is beginning at 6:34. Thank you. Welcome.
Hello again. This is Elliot Oshman of the Committee Against the Retention of the Three Snoozes. I wasn't planning on making public comments again until the regularly scheduled board meeting next Wednesday, but I could not miss the opportunity to excoriate. As in the past, I have provided a copy of these comments to the Executive Director for her request for her to give copies to each of the board members. If you'd like to follow along, feel free, including you, Madam Chairman. My comments are addressed to the entirety of the board, and I start with my usual 9 declarative sentences. I will neither be interrupted nor silenced, as will we, as will the community. I will remember this, as will we, as will the community. I will vote on April 4th, 2023 against retention of the three snoozes, as will we, as will the community. My comments tonight are in 2 portions. The first is fairly short. It is a copy of the definition as to how new business should be conducted. I have attached it to my comments. That's page 3, if you wish to follow along. It says specifically, so long as members are reasonably prompt in claiming the floor, the chair cannot prevent the making of legitimate motions or or deprive members of the right to introduce legitimate business by hurrying through the proceedings. I will elaborate on this concept and the relationship between Robert's Rules of Order, dealing with new business, and the Open Meetings Act of Illinois in my comments during the regular meeting next Wednesday. Secondly, I wish to educate by increasing the vocabulary of the board with some definitions and how they relate to budget considerations. We'll do this alphabetically. B, big red rubber stamp that says no. What the treasurer, who will go unnamed, uses to indicate his desire not to include a particular expense item, liberally used last year during the budget hearings. No reason to expect otherwise for planning of the 22-23 year. Full bleep. You do not need to censor this, delete this, nor rule me out of order as profane. It is what is left after the bull leaves the pasture. I'm not going to spend the remainder of my 5 minutes by providing extensive examples of what this board has said that falls into this pasture, often used in the past 12 months to justify reductions or increases. Draconian, definition of extremely harsh or severe. One example, last year's adopted budget. I have very little doubt that he'll try to impose another such budget this year. Extravagance, lack of restraint in spending money or use of resources. 2 of the current board members, I won't name them, they're on the right, ran on the concept of cutting extravagant spending. They claimed they could cut the levy by 10% without affecting any programs. The levy was cut by 18%. See bull bleep per above. Last year's adopted budget cut such extravagances as membership in the Chamber of Commerce, professional training, continuing education, staff recognition. Last year, a temporary hiring freeze was adopted, reduced such extravagances as staffing. I have very little doubt that the 3 snoozes will submit a proposed budget with similar extreme reductions. I thank you for your time and look forward to Monday and Wednesday's meeting.
Thank you.
Renee Sutherland?
My name is Renee Sutherland. My pronouns are she and her. I didn't prepare any comments for today. I was busy working, and then I took my son over to Nico Park to play with some friends and talk to a mom who I had not met before, who was aware of what's been going on here and was as confused as most community members that I talked to. This is not what people expected when the anti-library slate ran and said they were going to save money. People didn't anticipate that they were going to pass a budget that had a certain number of staff and then refuse for an entire year to let the library have that number of staff that they had actually budgeted for. We have a library director sitting here. She has no assistant directors. That position normally had 2 assistant directors. She's sitting there all alone. And her assistant is what, upstairs preparing your 3rd agenda in a week? She can't, how is she doing this? And you're supposed to like her, right? You guys picked her. So the community is flabbergasted. Those of us who've been watching closely have seen what you guys have been doing. The rest of the community, they're hearing about it, they're seeing it. It's absurd. And so you're going to make the supervisors sit here, the managers, tell you what they need, and you're going to what? Say we're going to continue to not hire any staff for a year, another year? You want to get to a point where we got 1 maintenance worker cleaning all the bathrooms and more time where there's no one from maintenance and security in this building? Like, is that what your goal is? We didn't hear, you were saying, well, first it was, oh, I'm hearing these things and it's surprising. And then it was, oh, thank you, Ron Billybaum, for telling me this. And then it was, well, we need more information. And it was, my understanding is you got that information. We heard nothing from you last month about it. What did you do with the information that you got? What's your plan? Like, what's the end goal? Get to a point where there's 5 employees in the whole library? So, yeah, go ahead, have your meetings, listen to what people say, and then continue to push through absurdity, or start listening to the community.
I'm sorry, that's all the public comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cyndi. Okay, with respect to the trustees, I would just like to note a few reminders. As you know, the rules of parliamentary practice comprised in Robert's Rules of Order govern the proceedings of the board. There are certain rules contained within Robert's Rules with respect to decorum. I hope it would lead to a more civil and productive debate, which is one of the most important concepts underlying parliamentary procedure. Consistent with Robert's Rules, I'm asking each of the trustees to refrain from speaking until recognized, focus on issues, not personalities, refer to any other trustee in a respectful manner, and address remarks through the chair. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is number 5, the 2022-2023 department budgets question and answer.
Mary Kay Stiff, Supervisor of Adult and Outreach Services, is not here this evening.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, I would like to thank the supervisors and the executive director for all your hard work and many hours to prepare the 2022-23 budget documents for tonight's special board meeting. In addition, I would like to express our appreciation for your participation in this evening's question and answer session with the trustees. Thank you so very much. And Cyndi, would you like to explain?
Yeah, I wanted to
for tonight?
just clarify. I don't know that, so we decided 5 minutes questions and 5-minute answers, right?
Yes,
So our
that was
total
the
of 10
last-
minutes?
yeah,
That was the last?
last.
Okay. Yes?
So
You
it's a
heard that?
total of 10 minutes.
Well, it's, well, because there's time for answers. I don't know, it just
Yeah,
didn't
but
seem-
realistically, I can't visualize any of my questions lasting more than,
Well, you can ask
30
multiple
seconds.
questions in your 5 minutes.
yeah, but I'm just saying the total would be then 10, giving them a chance because I would
Right.
anticipate my answers that I receive will be longer than my questions.
Well, if 10 minutes is needed,
You
that
mean
would be
we
the limit.
can't get an answer immediately after
No,
our
we will.
question?
No,
We have to list all our questions?
No,
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
no.
within, you can
she's
ask,
just saying the total number.
right? And so I'm going to then, but you're going to go by trustee, Carolyn?
Yes, I was going to call each.
Okay, so then let me just get 10 minutes on here.
Sure.
I don't know. It's been too long since I did that thing. Okay, so I'm going to shoot with
Whatever
the
works
old-fashioned
for you.
way.
No, it's fine. Take your time.
So I'll just turn one of these over at a time.
Okay, trustee McCullough.
Just to be clear, I have 5 minutes to ask questions from all the supervisors
Yes.
or
From
just
any
one?
supervisor.
Anyone,
Mhm.
okay. I'll start with the children's department. How many people do you have that work between 9 and 5 in that time period? 9:30 and 5:30? How many staff? 5 days a week, Monday
Could have
through
figured
Friday?
that out from the schedule you requested.
Doesn't it vary?
It's in the information we were given.
Please
Sorry.
don't interrupt. Allow her to speak.
I am sorry,
Thank you.
Madam President.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 full-time people, including myself, so 4 staff plus myself during the day.
6 persons during the day.
No, 5.
No, 5.
4 plus
4
1.
plus myself.
Oh, 4 plus yourself, I see. During the daytime, when I come in the library here, I see very few kids between 9 and 2 o'clock, or those hours. So wouldn't it be better if we adjusted the time to work, people to work from maybe noon till 8:30 or 7:30 or something like that? or 1 o'clock till 8:30?
Am I supposed to?
I see more kids in the library when I come in the evening. The parents bring them.
So, yeah,
And
we
that-
can-
and that department is busier then.
So we can answer that in that what your staff is doing during the day. There are homeschool kids coming in, there are preschool kids coming in. I mean, there are things that maybe aren't happening the time you come in, but there is definitely work to be done during the day. And the school liaisons are going out. So those, if you want to
And how many
talk
of,
about that.
how many of your employees are selectors?
Professional staff all select for a portion of the budget.
So they all take a turn?
Well, they all select for different areas. One person might collect the picture books and the board books. One person might collect parenting and teacher collection. One person might collect graphic novels. One person might collect audiobooks. One person might collect videos. One person might collect the playaway electronic resources. One person curates the nonfiction. One person collects the world language collection. One person oversees periodicals.
Okay, I understand. Does everybody in that department interact with patrons
Yes, sir.
directly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next department is digital services.
Oh, I'm answering that
Oh, you're going to have to answer for
as
them.
best I can. I might have to research it.
Okay, all right, let me go to adult services. Okay,
Oh, Mary Kay's not here, so I'll be
Oh.
answering that one too.
either one. All right.
If you ask the question.
All right, the question is,
Yeah, it'll get on the record.
can the adult services purchase all the adult material? Because the digital service people are at the same time doing the same thing, duplicating some of the same material, but in electronic form.
Digital Services does order for adults, teen, and children, e-materials and e-resources, because it just takes a concentration on that particular format. So there are people that sort of specialize in audiovisual material, fiction.
Well,
I mean, you have a sort of
let's take an
specialty.
example, books. If we're going to buy 4 copies in hard copy
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 1 in electronic, why can't that adult buyer or selector just make that entry and then material service then makes that order?
Well, Material Service doesn't order electronic material. That's why Digital Services, so the selector and the ordering person for Digital Services, e-material is the same person. So in the other departments, there are selectors that make the choices, and for physical material, those choices are sent down to Material Services, who does the ordering and the receiving.
Right.
But for electronic material, those steps aren't necessary. And so it's a separate department that is just focused on e-material. And they do the selecting and the ordering, and they have the relationship with the vendors themselves, as opposed to Material Services.
I'm just thinking, why couldn't the people in buying the adult books just learn how to make that order?
Oh, wait a minute. Let's stay up. Okay. Well, I mean, they could learn. It just wouldn't be as efficient. So, I mean, thank
It's
you
an
for your
idea.
comment. It is an idea. Thank you very much. Yeah, so the whole thing is 10.
In maintenance, I noticed Rich had, you had down 40,000 in consultants.
Yes, sir.
Do we, my thought is that when we hire a consultant, the board should be consulted and approve all consultants. Is that the intention?
Well, the intention is that we follow the procedures, so we go to the board if it's a regular budget item, and it's over $5,000, then we go to the board and ask, sorry, I should remember this because it's being streamed, so, but he'll come out and pop out and tell me if I'm yelling too loud. Yeah, so the intention is that if it's, for example, a smaller project that, the HVAC server room, for example, some other projects that are not listed in here. It might be only $2,000, so we're not going to come to the board for that, because
So-
it's not part of the policy.
So you probably wouldn't get a consultant also, because a consultant would cost almost as much as the project.
The project might be 10, 20,000, something like that. But for the larger projects, yeah, we're going to come to the board and say we have these particular consultants for this larger project, say perhaps like the electrical panel doesn't need,
Right.
we just need an electrician that can spec it for us and make sure that we have the RFP correctly. And it might be like $2,000, but it's a $30,000 project. But the parking lot is something that's going to be a sealed bid. We need to have that prepared, and that might be more extensive. There might be engineering study that needs to be done in terms of like the lanes and what the aggregate is already underneath, and then how we need to reinforce it, and the timing and all of that. So those types of things, of course, but it's all driven by where this exists in the budget. So if it's in the special reserve, then we're going to come to you for every single penny, because that's what the policy is. And if it's
I understand. But I'm talking about consultants. Any consultants you hire, you would come to the board, is that correct?
Again, if it's under the consultant line item, then it would be 5,000 above, like everything else.
So if a consultant is $4,999,
It would not come to the board.
it would not come to the
It
board?
would just go through the director.
Okay.
The board will see it eventually, because you'll have
But
to sign.
after the fact?
Absolutely. But I'm sure that we'll be informing you that we're looking to go into this project, because most of the projects will require board approval. So we'll be informing you during the regular portion of the regular meetings during the course of the year to indicate, we're looking at this project, we're going to hire a consultant, we're looking at, it's going to be under 5,000, so we've looked at one or two, and that's how it goes.
If you have a particular concern about that,
Pardon?
if you have a particular concern about that, we can address that.
Okay. Let's see what I had in IT. The same situation in IT, I had the same question, so you had consultants down in that, listed there also in the same manner, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just hop over there to that particular part of the math sheet. Yes, so for consultants, we have 18,500, of which there is approximately 5,000 for regular consultants. This is like AV, IT network. Good chunk of that, about 2,500 is through matching funds. Well, it's 20% library, 80% federal government funds. So that was the bulk of that 5,000. The 2-hour monthly emergency support, that's a yearly payment that we make for emergency support for IT. It's also designed in a block type fashion, so we can use that. It doesn't like expire every month. And then the $9,000 for website intranet development consultant is an ongoing process. So usually it's a few $100 here for adding a widget or changing something that's not working on the website.
Got it. Did you have any capital grant expenditures you shown on here?
Do I have any special reserve?
Capital grant expenditures. I thought that wiring project for the low voltage wiring was capital grant expenditure.
Capital grant?
So I'm not sure what capital grant is, but there is something called E-rate, which is a federal program. It's a federal grant program that we apply for. We applied for a number of items totaling, let me just take a look.
It's been going on for a few years, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we do E-rate applications and grants every year. I'm sorry, the time is up, so maybe you can get back with him on that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
It is detailed on one of the sheets, though.
Yeah, wherever it says E-rate, that's where part of the money is going from the federal government.
Do I get to question somebody else?
Next is trustee Schoenfeld.
Oh,
We're going by 5 minutes. We can see where this ends. Let's give everyone a chance right now.
My question is for adult and outreach services. For our library, how's the circulation determined for our library?
Well, for all of the departments, it's determined the same way. Do you mean the monthly statistics? Yes, so that is reports that come from CCS, which is the consortium and the catalog that we use. And we also use their circulation module, which is used by patron services. And so all of the transactions of checking in and checking out are recorded in the software, and then they issue monthly reports. And that's where we pull the circulation numbers from. Is that answering the question? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have another question in terms of for the actual, for adult outreach and services.
Suzanne, could you move the microphone closer so you could be heard?
For the outreach services again
Okay.
program, I'd like to know how was it determined that we are going to do a book club for the Spanish club?
How was it determined that we would do a Spanish book club? I will have to defer that to Mary Kay. I think what we do here in the library is we come up with ideas that we think will serve the community. So we do have a Spanish language materials, and they are circulating. I believe she mentions that in her narrative. They're circulating pretty well. And so, we have I believe it's 4 other book clubs that we do in English. And so to serve this Spanish-speaking community, we're going to try this. I mean, that's how we find out if there is reception in the community, by trying things.
Because my question to you is, we have a large number of Asians that are actually in our community, and that's 19.82%. And whites, which is Caucasians, is 72.48%. So I would think that we would focus more on that. So
Well, it often also is finding the person who can lead the book discussion. So we're fortunate enough to have someone who can lead the Polish book discussion, and we now have someone on staff who can lead a Spanish book discussion. So it does require finding the right person. We certainly have the materials here, and we have services that we offer to all kinds of book clubs that use the library that aren't necessarily sponsored by the library. So we certainly work with all kinds in the community, but to actually have someone who can lead a book discussion in different languages, which is why we haven't done it before, because when you find a person who can do that, it's pretty special. We will take recommendations if you know anyone who is interested in helping us create an Asian-focused
And my next
book discussion.
question for actual professional development, again, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
In regards to the actual floor plan for the new fixtures, how is that actually researched and actually developed? Because we have so many fixtures here that we could utilize rather than having new fixtures, because it's a large expense.
Yes, so I think that is from the day-to-day working in the space, seeing how the space is working, continuing to try to find ways to merchandise the material, and get it in front of people's eyes. When you go into, retail establishments, things are sort of front and center there and easy to find, and sometimes books lined up on the stacks, are sort of not so easy to find. So, sort of the trend is to try to merchandise the material and try to have places where you can have front-facing books so that people can see them when they walk through. So we do that a lot on carts and miscellaneous tables, and I think she's trying to definitely work with the aesthetic and make it look more cohesive than just book carts around in the department. I don't know if you've been to the second floor recently, you'll see lots of book carts,
Yes.
sort of makeshift displays, and it's sort of just trying to improve on that, because they go really well when they're displayed on the carts. Oh, Arianne, please. Put microphones in the budget.
I'll say that during
the time when the building was partially shut down, and we were trying to keep individuals from congregating at tables and limit, the time in the space. We used a lot of the tables that were for seating for displays, and we had a number of positive comments from public saying, oh my gosh, I love this kind of curated collection, or oh my goodness, where are the Mother's Day books? And we have limited front-facing shelf space, and so here we had pretty much a 2-year trial run that proved that the public really did like to engage with the material in a curated format. And so both Mary Kay and I have been talking, and Mary Kay specifically engaged in some functional furniture that could be used to deliver to the patrons what they, over this past 2 years, expressed that they really enjoyed.
And she did bring a consultant in. You met with him as well, Arianne?
Yeah, a furniture rep.
Furniture rep, okay.
Who we had worked with previously, and, to share. Some of the goals would be to have the new fixtures match the old fixtures, but some of the wood is actually from Russia, so that's not going to happen. And so we looked at, cheaper options, and Mary Kay is, as budget conscientious as anyone else at this table, and looking at the most reasonable way to bring these pieces into the building to engage the public. Again, this is something that the public expressed that they enjoyed both at adult and youth service spaces. So.
Thank you, Arianne.
And then one more question. In terms of the actual volunteer program, the summer reading program, do we have an actual website where kids can actually engage and sign up for involvement to being a part of the library and have volunteer hours? And
Yes, so for kids, I'll defer to Arianne on that.
Sure. So to engage with the summer reading program itself, the software that we use is called Beanstack, but the volunteers are, they engage with their scheduling through a program called Wozniczka. And before, in fact, I think your daughters were volunteers for us for summer reading?
yes, both of them.
So they all need to come to an orientation or a training, and we get their Wozniczka account in order, and then they learn how to access the open slots. They sign up for the open slots. And then we also use that software over time to report back. Sometimes a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grader works for us for a number of years, and then when they're in college and they want to apply to the College of Education, and they need to attribute 120 hours of service with children, they'll come back to us and we'll sign their letters, and Wozniczka is the software that we can go back and remember a kid from 5 or 6 or 7 years ago and satisfy that need for their applications.
Thank you.
Is that all?
That's all I have at this time.
Trustee Rosansky.
Yes. First, I would like to respond to a couple of questions from other board members. I am here quite often, and quite often during the morning and other parts of the day. I see parents with toddlers here in the morning. So to say you don't see anybody, or, oh, let's cut those hours because that's only a couple toddlers, we're not serving our community by doing that. Also, Asian is multiple countries, multiple language. I know this for a fact because my son-in-law is Asian. So therefore, to say, why don't we have Asian book clubs is kind of like, how many languages that are Asian are we going to cover? Hispanic or Spanish is more easily accessible. Thank you. Now, to my questions. For outreach, I know she's not here. Most of my comments, my first one, I probably will have to refer to her. I was curious about automatically yours type program. Do I have to ask her about it? Because if I do, I will.
No, it's It's called different things in different libraries and over the years, but it's essentially, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong, because she's listening. Essentially, it is allowing patrons who have favorite authors or interest in read-alikes of favorite authors to tell us by filling out a form, and then when that new book is coming, they automatically get put on the list.
Okay, so the patrons sign up for it.
They sign up for it.
Okay.
The way we did it a few years ago was to have the concierge service, right? So you could sign up and talk to a librarian, and they would make book recommendations. So that was sort of in that direction. But many libraries have sort of a list you can get on, and then when the new book comes out, you don't have to remember, when is that book being published? I've got to call the library, because your name is automatically put on it. And you're called when the book is available for you, instead of having to keep your own list of who are the new books coming out and when do I need to call the library. So I believe that's that kind of program.
I think it sounds like a wonderful idea. Thank you for answering that. I'd also see we are trending higher in print for world language materials, and we need more display spaces for this. I really appreciate the fact your staff is on top of this. When this report was written, again, I'm talking for adult outreach, the department said they were 73 hours short a week. Can you tell me what that is at this time?
Which people? I mean, which positions?
For that particular department, when this was printed, and I believe she remarked back in February or March, she was at short 73 hours a week for the amount of staff she had.
Yeah, I think she details it here in her narrative. Let me just.
Is it higher at this point? Because I know we've been losing a lot of staff.
Yes, she did have someone just, what month is this, May? Thank you. Just in April, she had someone who retired. So, yeah. That was a full-time librarian position.
Okay.
So I don't think that would have been, I think it's in the paperwork,
Okay.
but it was at the time she wrote the narrative.
But even so, 73 hours short a week is a lot. Youth and Teen Services, my girlfriend.
I have a wife.
Can you please tell me how many hours per week your department is short at this particular time?
Started rapidly doing the math as you were asking about adult and outreach. I am down 3 full-time individuals and 3 part-time individuals.
So, yeah, part-time can be like from 16 to 20-something.
They're about 20. Yeah.
About 20,
Hold on
okay.
one
So
second.
let's say 60. And then 3 full-time, 37 hours each?
Correct.
Okay. So we're over 100 there.
Oh, yeah, we're 157 and a half hours
Okay. Okay.
per week.
Per week. I know. Thank you. How do you think you are going to be able to handle summer reading program being so short of staff?
It's normally a very busy time, very exuberant time, and it
Definitely.
is going to be difficult this summer.
Because I know I've been here and the joining's jumping.
Yeah. I also had, said yes to some vacations before I lost people most recently, so there's really going to be a few days where I only have like one person during the day and one person at night, so that might not go so well, but we'll keep on trying.
And usually when you have your assistants or your volunteers, that's during the day, correct? And on weekends?
They are scheduled throughout the entire summer reading program, but as much help as teenagers are, they're also a responsibility.
A lot of work.
And overseeing
the volunteers I'm providing for that opportunity is as much of a program as the summer reading program itself. We do need the volunteers to manage the summer reading experience for the kids as they come in, but we also need to manage the teenagers as they are signing up and either showing up for the work shift or not showing up for the work shift or needing some, course correction during the 2 hours that they're there. It's oftentimes their first chance to, work, although it's for a volunteer opportunity, and so they need oversight as well.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Bear with it. I know you do well. Let's see. Digital services, my friend and neighbor. Can you please tell me how many hours per week you're short? I know not your department as much, but for the other department you are also managing? Totally, wasn't it like?
You're talking digital services, right?
Oh, I said digital services. Excuse me, that's you. Tell me how many, I'm getting confused, sorry.
I know.
Forgive me. How many hours is that department short at this time? I know they're short quite a few because they have trouble manning the desk as well as other things.
Okay, so how many hours are they short? So the supervisor has been filled.
Yes.
So there's a assistant digital services supervisor for full-time. And there is the 30-hour IT assistant is actually going to be full-time starting Monday. So that's an additional 7.5 hours to the department. And then there's a 15-hour position which will be open June 3rd because that person is leaving. And then there's another 15-hour position open. So that would be the second IT assistant is open. So 30 hours, and 30 hours is 60 hours, and the assistant supervisor is 67.5 hours.
Okay. So we're still quite short. Thank you.
Oh, 97.
97 hours, quite a bit per week. Thank you. It still, does it look, even though it was listed, that they might have a makerspace? Will they have that if they don't increase their hours? Because will they have enough people to run it?
Well, it's by appointment now, I believe, Makerspace.
No, not space. Fest, rather.
Oh,
I
the
said
ma-
feast instead of fest.
The Maker Fest. Yes, Bernadetta is very optimistic. She's doing the programming there. She's very optimistic to be able to do the Maker Fest. Now, you remember several years ago, it was sort of a library-wide Maker Fest, but during COVID, it was a virtual Maker Fest.
Yes,
So I think it'll
I
end up
remember
somewhere
that.
between the two. Probably will not be a library-wide event because it isn't on the PR and marketing event list, but it will happen.
Okay, so people register for the Zoom parts of it then, I'm assuming.
Well, they haven't worked out the details, but I mean,
Okay.
it's going to,
Well, that's how I kind of remember it being before.
yeah, but there'll be some in person, I imagine, as well.
Okay, cool.
Time's up. For who? Patty? Time's up, Patty.
Is something else?
See how
Okay.
fast 10 minutes went?
Okay. Material services, how many hours are you?
Patty, your
there?
time's up.
Oh, that's fine, thank you.
You can submit the questions that.
Okay, I don't need to because, thank you very much, I got enough answered.
Okay.
Trustee Olson?
Yes. I'm going to go off course for a while. Before I begin, I want to say thank you to all the department supervisors and their respective staff, who I'm sure spent many long hours preparing these reports for this meeting. Thank you. Reading these reports assured me, once again, as to the knowledge, as to your competence, and yes, your devotion, exhibited daily just by the Niles Library employees. When reading these reports, I found 3 common themes running through them. First being the detrimental effect that the hiring freeze has been in all the departments. Our library is beginning to feel the long-term effects. How can we expect our staff and employees to reach their goals under these circumstances? Secondly, in every department, there was an outcry for reinstatement of professional development funds. Honestly, I don't understand why some board members are anti-education. Yes, it is anti-education, that's what it is. The few dollars that it takes to spend on conferences and workshops and the like is money well spent. The third theme, every department report expressed future needs, future possibilities as they shared new ideas and their plans for the department in the future. Hopefully, we as a board will be able to honor our devoted employees and do what's best for our community by coming to an agreement on a new budget, hopefully. Thank you, Arianne, Cyndi, Victoria, Richard, Sasha, and Athena, and all the people that helped you. But I do have a question, and this is for anybody who wants to answer it. No one specifically. Excuse me. What do you think had the greatest impact as a result of insufficient staffing? What part of the library had the greatest impact as a result of insufficient staffing? Or you could just tell me about your department. Does anybody want to speak to that? Yes?
I think, so the general fatigue that is coming with all the employees being stretched further, and it's a cyclical thing because the environment that we're working in has led to people looking for opportunities elsewhere. So we've lost more positions. So it just spreads it out even thinner. So it's difficult to, in a cohesive, what was a cohesive library staff, and which we still are, because we still keep pulling together to get it done. But it's painful to watch colleagues and staff walk out the door. So that's something that impacts me.
Thank you.
Sure.
Here's another question for anyone who wants to answer. What would be the first thing you would spend funds on should you be awarded some or any funds? What would be the first thing that you think is so important? Think about it.
More staff.
More staff and patron services.
More staff, okay. Staff and patron services. Anything else? Anybody want to speak to that? You don't have to, because I think we all know the answer. I'm just trying to bring things to light, things that we know are so important, and I'm just reiterating. And thank you so much for all of your services. I can't find the rest of my questions, so I think I'm finished.
Okay, do you want us to move on with Trustee Keene and then we can come back to you?
Sure.
Okay. Trustee Keene, please.
It's clear just watching you guys answering the questions how emotional and difficult this is for you. And it makes me feel worse than I felt before coming in here tonight, which was pretty bad already. So I'd like to say that, Diane, your words were really excellent tonight. I felt like giving you an applause after you spoke, but that would have been not on the schedule. So, but thank you for saying those
I
things.
just think that they need to speak their heart instead of all these reports and statistics all the time. I mean,
It's clearly, you know, you guys can't even, you're measuring what you're saying. And that's not right. So I don't have a whole lot of questions. I want to express my gratitude as well. Thank you. I have one question for Rich because it didn't get clarified for me earlier. Can you just talk about the deep cleaning that is needed and how it looks like the COVID supply, or the amount of money for COVID supplies has greatly increased? And I have brought this concern up before and been assured that we are cleaning sufficiently, but I really don't feel that way. So in the budget, we have allotted the amount for the overnight cleaning to come back.
That's correct. We
Yes.
added that.
So is the deep cleaning something different from that?
It is.
Okay.
It's also in the budget.
Can you explain what that is?
Sure. Once a month, we have a outside service that comes and sanitizes with special equipment, a range of equipment that they carry that we don't have to then purchase and, you know, upkeep. And they do all 10 bathrooms.
And so it is actually economical to do it that way as well, because we're not having all those
And
things on
we
hand.
continue to do that currently.
Okay,
so.
good. All right, thank you. And just so that I understand, everyone, from what I could tell, did budget for all the staff that you want to have, right? So you didn't cut anyone from your budgets, or am I not understanding that? No?
Well, I removed the substitutes, but I put in for all of the vacancies since July 1. And I think I was going to check this earlier.
Right.
About Mary Kay's position, she talks about. So all of the vacancies are budgeted in being filled at 10% over the base, because we have not adjusted the salary schedule, and it gives, you know, I have some discretion, and it's quite competitive, the market, and so anyway, there's a 10% cushion on the vacancies that just gives me a little leeway to offer a little bit more should that opportunity come up.
So why did we only go, like how many employees did we lose before July 1st, I guess, May 1st and July 1st? And
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
and why we didn't include those people in that number then that we want to budget for this year?
Well, I don't know. It was my decision to just start with this budget that we are working on and the people that we have lost since the budget began. You know.
I would be interested in that information, if you could get that, please.
Okay.
I don't know if I ask a question of the supervisors if they're going to feel comfortable answering that, but
Ask away.
do you feel like that is in the budget? All the people that you are missing, those people are budgeted for? Because it's not looking like that from where I'm sitting.
Are we going to go to more hours?
Open more hours? No, there was no change in the hours from what I budgeted.
I mean, a year is a long time for, I'm not at all sure.
Okay, so the amount that we have budgeted for staff in this budget then is to be open 66 hours, not the previous hours. Is that right?
Yeah, I did not consider more hours.
Okay, so we don't have numbers for what we could go, you know, we're not budgeting for the amount of staff we would need to have if we were able to go back to the hours that we had previously, or for the number of staff that we lost before July 1st.
Well, it was more the number of staff that were that was in the proposed budget for 21-22 that were cut prior to the budget. There were vacancies, if you remember. Athena, you can speak to this. You have vacancies that were budgeted last year that were just removed, right?
Yes, so I had 6 or 7 that I budgeted for last year, and I'm asking for 6 again this year. So to give you an idea, I did have 38 people. I am down to 17.
17 people. Any more questions?
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
And a general question for anyone who would like to speak. I know that it's in the narratives too, but in case not everyone can get to all the narratives, if there is one thing that you want to say to the board, or one thing you want to advocate for, or one specific repercussion of the not having the staff, like something that can't happen because we don't have the staff for it, if there's any of those things that you want to speak to, I would be happy to hear them.
So I put in the narrative of the maintenance services department. We actually we're down 2 part-timers and the supervisor, so the board has expressed their support, your support in us to find a new supervisor. So we're diligently trying to continue doing that work in terms of hiring a person. But with increased programming, just increased use of the library that we're seeing trending up, I believe that returning the 2 part-timers that allowed us to have 2 staff in the evenings. With the supervisor, it was 2 staff in the morning, a part-timer and a supervisor. So hopefully we'll be able to return to that as well, and then have basically 2 staff at any time. That allows for not only doing the maintenance, but the security part as well. So like right now, we have a person who is at the front door because we're open. And, you know, he was not able to do the rounds that he needed to do for maintenance in order to facilitate the meeting. So things like that. But as we see things starting to improve with regards to people starting to utilize our program space, we're having a lot of changeover in this room, for example, and a number of other rooms. And so it's a little tight when you have 4 people.
Right.
And, you know, they're trying to do the washroom facilities as well in the mornings. So I put in there that would greatly help, having the overnight crew again, as well as the 2 18-hour positions, in addition to what the supervisor were already trying to find.
Thank
So,
you.
you're welcome.
You also brought another question to my mind about that maintenance and security, or whatever we're calling that thing. But you guys have been taking over pick hours in the afternoons when there is no one here. And maybe you know, this is not an easy question either, but how does that feel? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you need security? I mean, how does that affect morale? How does that affect work? How does that even happen? But having you guys responsible for that is not in your job descriptions, correct?
Well, supervisors are required to be picks.
Right, but that doesn't entail security detail, does it?
Well,
And have they ever been asked how they feel about that, and if they feel that that should be in their job?
I believe they accepted the job with that stipulation. I don't know, you can speak to that. I didn't hire you.
I'm part of that department, so I don't know that that's an appropriate question for me,
Yeah.
because, you know, although the library is a safe environment, and we try to make it as safe as possible, whether it's through staff intervention or oversight or insight, and also with our community partners. So I don't know if that's the answer that you want to hear, but, you know, we try our best, right?
Of course.
I think the hardest part that we've already expressed is the fact that we've lost a lot of colleagues. A lot of institutional knowledge has been lost. We've tried to pass on as much as possible to other staff. It's a little bit hard to do that, especially when you're losing full-time staff as well as part-time staff. And we've been able to graciously be able to promote some staff into full-time positions and kind of keep the boat afloat. But it is difficult, so. Yes.
Thank you.
I think the security cameras are very helpful in having more eyes around the building, and I think that we have given access to the service desk to be able to view those cameras so they can monitor their spaces without sort of walking into a unknown area. So I hope that that has helped put some eyes on the building and give people more visibility to feel safe.
Is there anything else anyone wants to say? This is your chance. And the silence just makes me think you're afraid to say anything, so I understand that too. I hope everyone else does as well.
Time's up.
Trustee Olson, did you locate your questions?
I guess my
think-
time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry, that you're
I'm
finished.
sorry.
I am finished.
Okay, thank you.
No, I don't have to say anything else, I think.
Okay,
They've been answered.
I did have a couple questions. One is about volunteers. I understand that Arianne needs volunteers for summer reading. Do we need volunteers for anything else in the library throughout the year?
We have an adult volunteer program.
We do?
We do, always have.
Cyndi ran the adult program, so she can
We have
answer adult questions.
We have volunteers that run the book sale. We had volunteer, what is that for? What does that look for?
I'm sorry, I lost my page. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Yes, we have very dedicated volunteers who run the book sale and have been here for many years. Athena has adult volunteers. We have less volunteers than we had before COVID, but we do have volunteers. They're in the monthly report, the number of hours that the volunteers are serving.
So Athena has volunteers in your department to do your department work, is that what we're saying?
No, they do specific work.
Yeah, I just have one volunteer at this point. She comes in on Sundays for a couple hours.
So Carly is now running the adult volunteer program. She works in digital services. Donna Block runs the teen volunteer program, and then I'm not sure who in Arianne's department is running. There you go.
You know what, I had a question. Arianne, for you, for your teens program in the summer, you need volunteers. How old are the volunteers that you would like to have for them?
In Kids Space, they need to be going into grade 7 or up
In kids space?
in Kids
Okay.
Space. And then usually anybody in a teen program has teen in their name, so 13, 14, 15, 16.
So you would accept teens to be volunteers for your teen program? They don't have to be older than the teens. They probably work better being around the same age. Is that what you're saying, for volunteers? Or do you, I don't know. I don't know, like if they're
So-
13, how old do you want the volunteer to be that would oversee 13-year-olds? I don't know, is there?
Oh, yeah, no, only staff oversees volunteers. We don't have volunteers overseeing volunteers.
So volunteers don't oversee the teens in the teen space?
Correct.
Oh,
Professional staff oversee.
okay, so for volunteers in the teens area, what would they be doing?
So the teens have a number of volunteer opportunities. A lot of kids need hours for National Honor Society, confirmation, different social, civic, religious
Sure.
scholarships requirements, correct? And those volunteer opportunities are pretty wide-ranging. They can volunteer for the Teen Advisory Board. The TAB group meets once a month, and they pitch program ideas, and they work on book displays together, and a general kind of communal teen meeting.
Sure, I understand.
There is not exactly a summer reading program that the teen department utilizes teen volunteers for. unlike Kid Space, and we utilize those teenagers as volunteers to
Okay.
sit in front of us at a table. We always have an ear
Sure.
open and listening, because sometimes the things that they're asked it's not a question that we would want a teenager to necessarily have to navigate. Sometimes people walk in the door and think anyone who looks official behind a desk is a librarian, so we've had, parents walk up and ask for a book recommendation from a 8th grader, and that's where we jump in and say, can we help you?
Oh, no, I understand. Okay, so I think that gives me a better idea of how we could utilize, or how you do utilize volunteers in these areas. Then I had another question. When I was reading all this information somewhere, I read, I believe, that we're planning a cultural diversity sort of future at the library, trying to bring in the different ethnicities. I don't know if it's programming you're thinking about, or it's just a mindset that we're going to be moving in that direction, which I think is an incredible idea. And so I'm trying to get a handle on how that comes about. I know you have DEI here. I don't know if that's just training or if that's a committee that actually would be used to create all of this, or how will you be determining your cultural programming, to encompass all the different ethnicities in our area? I mean, is there a plan, or am I just reading more into it?
Well, we have a program committee, and we have a community engagement committee. We have an anti-racism action committee. And so all of these people, DEI sort of goes across those different committees. It's looking at the collection, looking at making sure that we have books that represent the community. So it's work that we've begun, and it's sort of an ongoing thing. So we don't have a plan other than to be open to learning about it, and embracing it, and seeing what the community needs from its library. So it isn't a
Okay.
complex plan. Anybody else can jump in there if they'd like.
Okay, maybe my take on this was that we would actually focus on we pick a culture, and not only would we be interested in having books, but maybe exhibits, presenters, so that the whole community could learn about Indo-Pak, or they could learn about the Korean culture, and so forth and so on. That's what I was thinking, because for a year now, I keep pushing the fact we really need to rev up, the culture in our area. What I'd like to suggest is, I don't know when or if you will go down that route. I'd like to recommend many organizations and many individuals from various cultures that would be willing to come to the library. They would present.
Is this about the budget?
They would help you, set this up. And these are things these cultural organizations do on their own, just because they're proud of their heritage and they want to share it. And it does bring people together. So if you ever get to that point, I would like to offer those suggestions, or I'll give them to you anyway. And maybe all of you may want to consider doing something that involves the different cultures in our area.
So that is something that we are very aware of, and we do try to reach out to. So we certainly welcome any suggestions or contacts that you have in the communities.
Sure,
but
I
it is
have
something that
many.
is
Okay.
core to library work, is to reaching out to the community. We were last year at the main township for 2 events out there that were very focused on different communities. We have put on our radar the outdoor event, I don't know where I'm at, in the parking lot across the street, wherever that is, at the H Mart. They have a big outdoor, I don't know if you're aware of that. So we are trying to, and that's part of the whole reason we have a community engagement committee, is to be aware and have everybody tuned into what's going on in the community, what are the events, how can we go out and make contacts with these community members to build that structure and those contacts and bring programs. Victoria is working on the display and exhibit. There's an absolutely gorgeous art exhibit upstairs. You really have to go up and look at it. It is just
It's
breathtaking.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Very
We
nice.
also
Yes.
had,
had Korean exhibits upstairs. We've had performers come in. We had a big Bulgarian exhibit and performers come in tied into that. We've done like inner city photography and had programs related to that. There's, is it the Pakistani festival that is coming up? And so there's an artist who's doing marbling related to that. So we've got a few exhibits that are coming up that are tied into these different cultural things.
Yes, yes.
And sometimes programming aligns with that. And then last year with Coming Together in Skokie, we did some different things. So
Right.
there was also accessibility. This year was the focus of Coming Together. So we were trying to get,
Yes, I read
a very inclusive exhibit. So we're trying to expand that a little bit. So we have things laid out all the way through October, I think, so
Okay,
far.
great.
So keep an eye
Okay.
out for the different.
Well, the
things.
information I have is just so many different cultures, and my take on it would be they would come here and they would present or whatever. I mean, I'll just give you the information and you can just look at it and work with it or whatever you would like. But I'm trying to get the focus into the library because, you know, we have pockets of different ethnicities and they're so proud of their culture. And to know that in July, and I don't really mean July because that's around the corner, that would be the month that you would be celebrating, you know, a particular culture, that would really bring people here. And what I've learned when we've done this in the past is the community who is not of that culture learns so much, and it really does bring people together. Sort of helps you kind of eliminate some of the barriers that just seem to automatically appear. But enough, I don't want to belabor that, but I did have, and then I had,
Time.
okay, that's fine, I'll send you an email, I had one other question, but that's fine. Okay, well, thank you. Now that we've gone through the 10 minutes, Cyndi,
So we're done with the department budget question and answers.
okay.
So we're moving on, and I wanted to thank the supervisors very much for being here and answering the questions.
Yes,
And
thank you.
you know, it's been a very jam-packed couple of weeks to get this together. So maybe part of what you're seeing, Becky, is fatigue because it's a lot of work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank all
Thank
of you
you all.
very much.
Have a wonderful weekend, if you're not back here tomorrow.
Yes. Sure. Just send an email and then we'll forward that on to Athena.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, number 6, 2022-2023 capital and administration budgets, questions and answer. All right, that will be Richard Wozniczka and Cyndi Rademacher. All right, Joe, Trustee McCula, I will start with you. Do you have any questions for this area?
Let Sue go first, and I assemble those, I guess.
Just one moment here. We are timing this as well.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We're timing these questions as well.
I thought so.
Okay?
I mean, they can have more time later, I just thought to get everybody in.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I
Okay.
just want to
Is that all right? Okay.
verify. Same, yes, procedure. Okay, so
We're doing, number 6 is capital and administration.
No,
No.
fine, thank you.
Okay, so you have no questions, okay. Trustee Rosansky?
Yes. Under revenue, under passports, 2020, 2021 actual, there is a 0. And I would just like to know why. Under revenue,
are you at the top of the page? What's it say?
We're just trying to figure out which tab.
Where you are.
I have to find it. But under revenue, revenue is usually the first category.
Okay, so under other, maybe, right? Under other,
Let me
passports.
look at my page. Revenue is Niles, Main District, Other, yes.
Okay, very good.
I'm pretty sure, let's see, yeah, that's where the 0 is.
2021 0. That was COVID. We were not doing passports at that time.
At all.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to verify, that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
thought it was, but I
Okay.
wanted to verify, thank you. The other question was, under the same thing,
Okay.
under capital expenditures, so let me look for capital expenditures so I can find the right page. Okay, which is the next page.
Okay.
What tab is that under?
That's under the
Where
number
it says-
10
This is,
Tab
10, okay, yeah, 10.
and under
For the entire
page
library?
2 of other.
page 2 of other. So on the
Okay.
top in the center, it says
Yes.
other, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Capital projects, equipment, let me see here, what did I say? There is a 0. Was there a 0? Let's
Yeah.
see, where am I
Yes,
looking?
there is
Capital
0.
projects equipment, there's a 0, yes.
Yeah, for this budget. Why?
No, we're not buying any equipment?
There's not going to be any equipment whatsoever? I thought we were considering the possibility
And
of
what's
replacing
other-
things.
What's other anyway?
I'll give you a chance, Rich. I see
Yeah,
you're flipping through
absolutely.
pages.
No, I'm just trying to formulate the answer in a way that is informative to all.
Thank you,
Um,
and you know I
so-
appreciate you.
Special, thank you very much. Special reserve equipment, which is the line just above that, is where the bulk of the equipment that we're requesting is coming from.
Okay,
So that's 123,000. There's a schedule in the IT services tab, I believe that's tab 6, that
Okay.
explains the current, the year that's coming and the next 2 years after that, and where that $123,000 sub-schedule is. Would you like me to go over that with you?
No,
I don't-
as far as I'm
I guess it's
concerned, that's
labeled.
not necessary. I looked at that, I just saw capital projects, and I thought, there's nothing under that, or is that because it has to be a grant, or why isn't there anything under there? It just all fits under the other ones?
Yeah, I mean, it fits under special reserve, and then we do have a fund that is non-capital projects where we will purchase 1, 2 sets of some sort of equipment as the need arises, and that's under also operating funds, building and equipment maintenance.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if you look under
Yeah, I saw that too.
non-capital expenditures, there's $25,000 in there for those types of things.
It's just to me that when you're talking hundreds of thousands and then 0, I was like, what? So, okay, thank you. And my other
Yes,
one
I'll get you an
was,
answer for that, Becky. I'll get you an answer for what that line is for. I'll get you an answer for what is, oh, I'm sorry, what did I say?
Becky.
I'm sorry, Patty, I'll get you an
That's
answer
okay.
for capital projects equipment and what kinds of things come out of there.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Can you please explain? Okay, let me see. Oh, this is for you, Cyndi. And I would like you to explain to everybody the reason 200,000 is budgeted for legal expenses.
Oh, lucky it's an
How
easy
you
one.
came up with that.
Wait a minute.
I don't think it's too strenuous, is it?
No, it's an easy one, thank you.
What page
I'm
is-
trying to be thoughtful.
Is there a page number?
Yeah,
for
is,
that?
where is it?
Yeah, legal was, let's see.
It's actually under administrative. I
Oh,
believe.
yeah, so it's
That
not
was-
under other, it's under admin.
It's under the other one, I
And
think.
what does other mean? Who's other?
Well, other is in the chart of accounts, and it's things that don't fall into any other department, I guess. I'm not exactly sure why
No,
it's called
legal
other,
is
but
not, it's
that's what it is.
administrative services.
Yeah, administrative.
So
services.
that's
Under
the other
other?
one. Look at, it says administrative services.
Under
Yeah, but
9.
is it is
Under
it
tab
other
9.
or entire?
Tab 9. And then
Tab
it's
9.
on page 3, 2 of 3.
2 of 3, okay, so where is it? Legal fees, 200,000.
Mhm.
So I did ask the labor lawyer for an estimate of what her fees would be, and she estimated it at $9,500 a month.
Okay.
So that, and then I did not ask Kleinthorpe and Jenkins for a quote. So I felt that the 200,000 would allow.
Would more than cover it?
Well, I don't know about more and cover it, because you may know more about what's going on with the lawyers than I do, but
Well, hopefully it more than
I
covers
put
it.
in there to cover the labor negotiations.
Plus.
Plus.
Okay, cool, thank you. I'm done.
Okay, trustee Olson, do you have any questions?
I think so, but there is so much information. I'm looking at the last few documents, the entire library. And
You're talking about the paperclip one?
I don't know, I don't have a paper.
No, it was in the
so-
book. It's the very last document.
The
next to
entire
the back
library,
binder.
page 1 of 6.
Entire.
This I
Okay, I see.
assume is the budget, right? This is the entire library, all the
Entire library.
revenues and all the expenses.
Right.
So under revenues, why is the first one, the property taxes, so low compared to 21, 22? I mean, if you see the fourth column, 21, 22 is 6,300,000. But the budget is 5,170,000. Why are you assuming that the property taxes will be so low? Where'd that number come from?
So that came from the accountant who
Well,
calculated
that's
that.
the thing. Where's the accountant that can
That's,
explain?
that's a forward-looking number. He's just giving an estimate there. That's for next year's.
So it does include the levy that was reduced last year for the second part of '23, right?
The levy was, I believe, 5.95 million.
Yeah, so it was reduced from the previous levies, which
Right.
has the higher
Right.
income.
But it's, but that
Because of
the
lower
number
levy.
he's showing there doesn't reflect the levy. I don't know why he doesn't reflect the levy as it is.
Well, because it's, the levy
Well,
crosses
because
over
it's-
2 years. I mean,
Yeah, it's forward.
yeah. But I can get you more detail on that, Diane.
I'm just wondering, and was the accountant asked to come tonight?
No.
Do we not need someone to explain all the, well, Rich, I guess you're going to explain it all? You and Cyndi?
Yeah.
I'm happy to
I
explain
mean,
the
if he
maintenance and IT part.
did he create, who created these documents?
The supervisors put in their numbers, they were rolled in, the administrative numbers, and anything that he didn't know, I researched and gave him documents to come up with the numbers. If you have questions, I'm happy to go back and get, there is a document that he gave me that supports the revenue, so I can send that to
Okay,
you.
no, I mean, I believe you. but
Well, no,
just wondering.
believe me, this is the first time I've done this, so I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm absolutely interested in what you're seeing that needs more explanation, so I have no problem with that at all.
Well, I remember in the past, and I've been on the board for 4 years or 3, or whatever, how many years? We got a column, that we could compare. This is a little bit more than what we need, I think, this
So
printout here.
the template is actually Greg's template that I gave to the accountant, so that it would be similar to what everybody was used to. So
Mhm.
this is the template that was used
Okay.
while Greg was here.
Okay, there's another question, and on the next page for total salaries. Again, I looked at the new budget, 22-23, and then I looked at the total for 21-22, and I was trying to compare. But there's only 61,000 difference plus, 61,000 plus difference between this year's budget for salaries and the new proposed budget for 22-23. 61,000.
We've budgeted for all of the vacancies since,
Pardon me?
we've included all of the vacancies that have happened since the 21-22 budget started. So the jobs that were budgeted for 21-22 are included in the 22-23 because we're including all the vacancies that have happened.
Well, 61,000 is going to cover the amount of vacancies we have to fill?
No, they're already in the numbers.
Okay,
They're in the numbers.
Okay.
And then there's the 1.4% COLA, which was built into the 21-22 and also was put in 22-23.
Okay, so that's the other question. Is the COLA only 1.4?
Well,
I thought it was much more than that.
well, it is, but in this budget, we put in 1.4, the same as last year. It's subject to union negotiation. And we're not there yet.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, on page 4, same document. General and administration.
Oh, wait, 4.
This year's budget is 313,000, or, yeah.
For what
And-
line?
The total general and administration for 22-23, I mean, there's a huge difference.
Let's
2021, 20, or 20.
Where are we at with
Well,
this general
22 and
administration?
22, 23? Is that what
Yes,
you're saying?
yes.
Okay.
Just, I don't,
He's pointing it out to her, so give her.
Yeah, so
that's okay.
so you'd go down and compare the lines for the difference. One is the legal fees. There's another line there for accounting services that would not have been in there last year. I asked him to, many, places would combine legal and accounting in one line. I asked him for a separate line so we could track accounting services.
Very good.
So that's 60,000 and the
Oh.
200 in legal fees. Those are the big ones.
oh, I see. You moved some of the
Yes.
line items around.
Yes,
Okay.
Subscriptions and dues, and there's professional development in here, which was not budgeted last year. So you can see there's 27,000 in
Right.
professional development, and last year was 6,000. Yeah, so you'd just be comparing those two lines to get the
And
differences.
what was the reason for moving the line items?
I didn't move them, I just added. I
Added.
added legal services. I added
Well, we had
Accounting.
those.
accounting services.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
because we have an accounting firm now.
I know, but the legal fees, professional development,
Those were always in there. I didn't add them. I didn't move them.
oh,
We just budgeted more. Last year, was only budgeted 40,000. This year, I'm proposing 200,000.
Yeah, I
because It's more
see.
realistic.
okay.
What's
That
it
explains that one.
The 98 is consulting, which included last year the CPA,
Well, that's less
but
than,
it's less now.
yeah.
It increased due to the $40,000 in the special projects for consultants. Oh, I was just telling you.
Oh, no, just speak to the board. That's okay. Okay, so I don't know, does that help?
Yes, thank you
Okay,
very
sure.
much. That's all the questions I have.
I'm sorry, trustee Olson, did you have more?
No, I'm finished, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Keene?
Can you kind of just walk me through what the process was like with Sikich on doing this? Like, Did they do it remotely? Did they come out?
Yes, he was here for an afternoon on, I believe it was May 3rd. And that was the first that we tackled the budget. Before that, the supervisors had worked on gathering their narrative and gathering their numbers for probably a month and a half. Everything takes longer when there's less staff. And so then I worked with Brian from Sikich for that afternoon. I had sent him some documents ahead of time so he could get familiar with it and with the template and how the supervisors were gathering information. And then he worked through it and then was on vacation last week. So we did work through some of it remotely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a bill for that yet, or is that included in, is that a separate bill? Is that in their monthly bill?
We have not been billed for it. No, it's only been 2 weeks.
Okay. But he only actually came out once, and then he did the rest remotely?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to just scan through my pages to see.
So do you, I mean, it's up to the board whether you want me to invite him here next week. So let me know.
I don't have any questions for him.
Can I get my 5 minutes back on this?
I think
I'm
trustee
not
Keene
done
isn't
yet.
finished.
No, I'm not
No.
done.
Oh.
Didn't you have your five, didn't he already have his
I-
5 minutes?
No,
I was waiting to pick up,
That's okay, we're on
I'm just
trustee Keene.
asking, I thought you went first.
We're on
I'm sorry.
trustee Keene, and then we'll just circle back.
The public performing rights was last year 5,000 and is 5,000 again this year? That's okay. Is that for the Illinois Presents in the public performing?
No, that's for the licensing for the showing movies, and then particularly the Polish films, Polish language films. Every time we show that, we have to pay a licensing fee that's, I don't know, $300 to $400.
Okay.
and it's also that Shakespeare performances, I think, comes out of that, doesn't it?
No.
No?
No, they're adapting their Shakespeare performances, and the licensing might be built into their fee, but they don't charge us
I thought that was.
for
in that.
licensing. Mm-mm.
I know I received some extra documents during the week about the $533,000 for the Special Reserve Building.
Yes,
Did everyone receive that, or just me?
I believe it went to everyone.
Okay.
I sent it to you separately, but it was in the packet that you picked up as well. But I sent it to you ahead of time because you didn't have your packet, the second set of documents, so I emailed it to you.
So the packet
no.
that I picked up for the three of us?
Yes, yeah.
That's
Wasn't it, or was it?
not in here, no.
You know, it's in the, it's part of here, broken out under Special Reserve Building, also under IT for Special Reserve Equipment, with the technology plan as a supplemental document to explain what the outlook would be to the future. So in tab, are we going to do the maintenance services?
Well, so what I got in my, because I printed this out today, this, it was an Excel spreadsheet that had several tabs on the bottom, right?
Right, so the 533 is the maintenance part.
Okay.
So it's in tab 5 of your binders, and it's the second to last sheet that is legal size that flips out. It will say
I
Special
only
Reserve
have one
Building.
sheet for
Yeah, I
that.
only have
We
one
only
sheet
have one
also.
So
sheet.
it's in the supplemental that you picked up. It's in the second
Oh, I
batch
apologize.
that you picked up. Yours has been
Okay.
compiled.
My binder has been compiled just this afternoon, I apologize.
In this?
It's all right, never mind.
It's in this stuff.
And no further questions, thank you.
But you have a copy of it. I'm happy to go over it if you wish.
That's all right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, trustee Makula.
Okay. I
Thank
might be
you.
going through some of that stuff.
What page, Joe?
On the, one of the things you have listed there is 15,000 north and east repair wall, add flashing and seal.
Joe, they're requesting page number.
It's okay. We just need to get to that.
What's the heading?
He didn't put a page number on it. It's in the maintenance supplement.
One tab is this.
There
She's
were
almost
no,
there.
there were no
These are
page
all
numbers.
three.
Right. So
It's in the supplement.
Okay.
But let's share together, and then we'll be on the same page.
I don't think
Literally.
Kathy has the-
No problem. We got it.
I
Yes,
can
Joe.
tell.
Okay, north and east repair wall, add flashing and seal.
Yes.
Is that near the roof? Is that,
No,
Where-
that is located from this door all the way to the front door, along the sidewalk. So this is the north
Yeah,
side
okay.
of the building and the east side of the building.
it's,
The
it's,
sidewalk, as we walk by the wall, you can
Okay.
see there's a covering over it. It's degrading, and we had it repaired a number of years ago with the salt, the brine that happens. It's acidic, and it eats that surface. It's sort of like a stucco.
so that's between the sidewalk
Yeah,
and,
that's
and
this,
the
I have
brick,
it.
It's on the wall. It's the actual wall of the building,
the wall and the,
and it's
Is it in
deteriorating.
this pile, this?
And so what we're proposing is, instead of repairing the wall exactly the same way we
Thank you.
did the first time,
Yeah.
we would repair the
Okay,
wall
this
and
is
then
called the
attach to
supplement.
the wall a material that would be resistant to the salt. So some sort of flashing that would
Yeah.
be from the sidewalk
sorry, I'm
elevation
looking.
to approximately maybe 12 inches.
What?
And it would
I'm
be
looking.
made of a
They're not
material like
seeing it.
aluminum or some sort of non-rusting steel, something like that. A flashing, basically.
all right. I didn't know exactly.
Absolutely.
The stone sills are, we were, that was on the budget last year that never got
Correct.
done.
And these are the sills that are from the entrance staff door on the east side.
Right, that's all on the east
That
side.
run all the way to the Oakton, and then along the front of the older portion of the building, there are sills. There are, some, I believe they're all limestone, but I might,
They are limestone.
there might be sandstone there too.
No,
but I
no.
think they're all limestone.
They're
It would make
limestone and.
More sense.
There's some sandstone, it looks like sandstone above it or something.
Possibly.
But-
They started deteriorating, I think, from age, but
I know
also.
about that, yeah.
The building site changed from the original site from the 60s to what we are now, and from 97, because that was lawn before, and now
Right.
it's sidewalk, and it's being treated with salt and chemical during the winter.
And that's probably what deteriorated.
Right,
Okay.
and so we're going to change it to something
Okay,
that
now-
is resistant to that.
That was on the budget last year.
Yes.
Are you getting estimates now for it? Because we're just adding again to this year's, coming up, this year's budget.
Yeah, so it wasn't last year's budget, proposed budget, and then it was eliminated, so it never made it.
I thought it remained in there.
No, it did not.
No, okay. And then the sidewalk in that same area there, that was in last year's budget.
That
for sure.
was in the current budget.
The last, yeah, current year, yes.
In the current year, yeah, I believe there's $3,000 that remained, and I'm actively trying to get someone to do just that little spot.
That area.
It's in the front of, it's basically one piece of slab of concrete.
Well, it's
that-
several squares and
It's
around the
one
door.
square that's in front of the staff door.
Yeah.
And then one at the very end. Those two pieces, so.
Okay, I thought there was more than two pieces, but.
No,
Okay.
that was all that was, well, that's all that's budgeted for, so.
Okay, and the seal foundation cracks in the northwest basement, that's the cracks that are behind the breaker box.
That's correct.
And that would be done when, if and when the breaker box is replaced.
Yes, sir.
You can't access that from outside or anything, so,
From outside, we'd have to dig into the concrete
yeah.
walkway and the substrata there.
Remove the abandoned exhaust fan on the south wall. Is that the fan that's inside the room where it's insulated? Is that,
So there is, on the old facade.
Yeah.
basically where the center south exit door is.
Yeah.
There is a old exhaust fan from the 60s, and
Yeah.
we want to basically close it up because it's hard to have it sealed temporarily because it's open. There's an exhaust vent there, and so we want to remove the vent and seal it up with bricks, so it matches.
That's behind the area that the wall is all insulated? Is that the fan that's inside that area?
No, there used to be a fan there, it's abandoned, and
Yeah.
there's nothing operational with it. So that was abandoned in 97. So technically, if you think about it, it's going to the lower level teen underground area. That's the area we're talking about, and it's
Yeah.
just outside of that area.
Are we having a problem with the parking lot that we need to do a repaving?
So the parking lot is deteriorating,
I know
as
it's
everything.
been resurfaced, not resurfaced, but seal coated recently.
Sure, it was seal coated, and so what I'm using is the FQC Construction Management report from April 4th of 2019 that we had updated because we've done this before. And so we've been following this report and trimming things and addressing needs that were identified in it, such as trimming trees and, well, I'll mention it. Things we haven't done are things like the roof that are detailed in this report, but outside painting, sealing the windows, sealing walls we've done. So we've done some extensive envelope other than the roof. There are some things in here identified, such as the tuck pointing, masonry tuck pointing that I'm addressing in the budget. There's also a section in here that dictates what the condition at that time for the retaining wall was on the east side. Specifically, not the fact that there's cracks, which is something that's normal, and then they're not significant and structural, but they did state that the weeping holes behind that go through that concrete structure, the drainage that they're connected to seems to be clogged and not clearable with rotting or jetting. And so the recommendation is to dig down through that and replace it. And so that's in here as well.
Replace the wall or the drainage?
The drainage.
That would be on the outside of the wall?
Yes, so it would be between the wall and the sidewalk.
They'd have to dig out the
walking-
dirt and
Yeah.
replace that drain
Yes,
tile?
because if you don't address it, then the structure of the wall will,
Well, there'll be too much moisture there.
yeah, and it will deteriorate further and perhaps collapse, so. Which wouldn't be good, because considering most of the wall is maybe 6 feet or deeper, you know, in terms of,
It's on a
yeah.
fairly heavy foundation, and
Right,
and
right.
it's at least a foot thick or more.
And then, moving on through that report, they identified that with regards to, you know, so obviously we worked on that. One of the reasons we looked for replacing the roof was because of that report. But on here, it also stated that for the parking lot was found at that time in overall good condition. They indicated that for the maintenance period of 3 to 5 years, we should be looking at for 3 to 5 years for total replacement. And so 2019 April, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, we're at that point where we removed it from the budget last year for any kind of repairs. So we did not do any repairs. We went through so this year, a lot of people indicated, oh, it was a mild winter. Unfortunately, mild winters are actually worse for parking lots because you have a lot of thaw cycles. So freeze and thaw cycles will raise and heave the parking lot, different areas of the parking lot.
Do you know, is that an original part of when the addition was constructed? Was that parking lot
I don't believe that we've ever
all the way down to the...
resurfaced it. Yeah, I
No,
don't
not
believe we've done it.
resurfaced, but I mean...
We've been sealing it and striping it, But I don't think we've
But
removed.
ripped out
Yeah, I don't
and
believe so. And then in
repacked?
here, they also indicated that what we should really do is when we do that, the drive lanes, due to the fact that we have buses that go through the lot and they make a loop in the lot, because one will drive through and the other one will loop out. Those particular lanes, we need to reinforce a lot better than just a regular parking lot in order
Yeah.
to maintain that parking lot's ability to weather a longer period of time.
What's happening is in the warm weather, the asphalt is softer, and you put a heavy vehicle on there like a bus.
Right, but that's
And-
not even just warm weather. So you can see there's several areas as you walk through the parking lot. Even the village has contacted us like, oh, hey, we've gotten complaints about the surface level of the parking lot has either heaved and now there's trip hazards. Beyond the parking lot, even the surrounding concrete structures that we've filled in, so like little strips between the sidewalk and the curb, there might be a 6-inch piece of concrete slab that runs along this side, for example, but it's depressed about 3 to 4 inches. So now you're walking from the surface, a level surface of a sidewalk, you have a 6-inch part that's depressed 4 inches, then you have the curb that's, again, higher, and then the parking lot that's lower. And so it's just basically a tripping hazard, and that has to be addressed. So, yeah. So that's, we have, oh, time, sorry.
I think that curbing area belongs to the village.
So that is all ours, because it's all within the.
It's on the sidewalk?
It's all within the sidewalk.
It's
It's not on the other side of the sidewalk, it's on our side.
It's on our side?
Yes.
Okay.
Including pavers, I'm sorry, but including the pavers that are, throughout the islands of the parking lot
Mhm.
and peninsulas that jut out.
No,
They've all-
that's, yeah, there's, the pavers are sinking.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
the
yeah.
center by the benches.
Everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And they were sinking when...
Time. She called time a while ago, Joe.
Oh, okay. We're done.
Can I just ask one question about what you two just talked about regarding the breaker box and some
Yes,
wall repair?
Sure. So on the same page, with the $533,000 in special reserve building expenditures that we've put into the budget, we have in here secondary electrical distribution panel replacement, $35,000. It indicates that there's a deteriorating 1963 circa 1963 secondary electrical panel. It's a distribution panel that is in the northeast basement. It used to be our primary panel, but when we did the construction in '97, that became our secondary panel. It powers pretty much all the heating of the building.
Succinctly, or I'm going to lose my 5 minutes. So the panel replacement
ma'am.
is what you're replacing? I thought there was a problem with the wall.
There too.
So once the reason there's a problem with the panel is because the wall has cracked behind it and is leaking in and causing deterioration of the panel.
And the wall can't be repaired
Because there's an electrical
from the
panel.
other side. So you have to remove the panel, then repair the wall, so it.
Well,
both
it's
get
already
done.
damaged the panel so we would want to replace the panel because the damage is already to a point where we need to replace the panel.
So the panel was damaged because of the wall?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't catch that part, but I was wondering, why are we not fixing this wall? And you were gonna wait for the panel, but the panel is due to be replaced as well?
It's rusting out.
Okay, then, all right, that
Yeah,
that
it's
makes
something
more
that,
sense.
like, for example, if
No,
Joe
I
was downstairs.
understand, I
and-
understand the
yeah,
concept, I
okay.
didn't hear it, and
Got
I
it.
was wondering why we're not going forward. Okay, thank you for that explanation. Appreciate it.
Is there any, not meaning to take up your space, but is there any way the panel can be moved to a safer location once we remove it, so we don't have to worry about that happening
Well, the
again?
deterioration of if I may answer, I don't know if that's appropriate.
Well, if not, I'll wait until we finally discuss this.
Is
No,
it a-
you can answer a
okay.
question.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
that we would not want to
I don't
move
want-
the panel because of its state. We would want to replace it.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and the replacement will be more than likely recommended by the electrician on an alternate wall and an alternate space, and then we can then clean it up.
Yeah, because that one other wall right next to it it doesn't seem like there's a problem.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And then I just had one question for you, Cyndi, regarding the responses or the questions that some of the trustees had, that you will send them the answers or responses to their questions. Could you send that to all the trustees so then we're all on the same page? Okay, thank you. All right, that's all I have.
So who is left? Suzanne?
I do have a question then, passport services. It is on page 2. And it's regarding yard stickers and then also the license plate sticker renewal service.
Yeah, so those are two sort of new services that many library circulation departments are offering as a convenience for people. And so Athena did some research on those services to see what was involved in offering it here as well. Each has their issues, let's just say. The yard stickers, lawns,
Yard waste?
yard waste stickers,
You're welcome.
it's just a pass-through, it's just a convenience, you know.
Mhm.
And so we purchase them, it's an asset, and then as they're
Depleted or?
purchased by patrons, you know, it's really sort of an accounting thing.
Wow.
That's a little complicated, but to the patrons, it's very convenient.
Well, do we have numbers on how many people actually purchase these or
But we haven't started doing it
started the
yet.
program? Because don't you feel it's taking away from the village and other locations that are actually do that service?
Well, there's no profit to it. It's just a pass-through. You pay $2, the patron pays $2. It's just a convenience. I don't think anybody is making money off of them.
Oh, no, I don't think that's our question. I think
Well,
our
I
question is,
think-
since it's done so many other places.
That there's so many
Well, it's
places
just
that
Jewel
actually do
and the
it.
senior center. There's only 3 places in the
Mhm.
village that do it. And so, you know.
And the village sells it, the village hall, it's across the
And
street.
village sells it.
Some,
Yeah.
other libraries might be 2 miles away from where they're sold.
Well, we are.
We're
we
right
are-
across the street, it doesn't make sense.
We are open later and on weekends that the village isn't.
Wow.
Same thing with passports, right?
Jewel is open more hours
Yeah.
than we are.
We don't have to do it. It's in her narrative to bring to the board. Like I said, they each have sort of some complexities to them. So it
Another
isn't
point
a
is,
done deal.
on the dissertation about that, it says it would take 15 minutes to process one of these stickers, vehicle stickers. And the same department that's asking that is telling us they don't have enough help.
Oh, it says 5 here, not 15, 5.
5
5
minutes, but
minutes.
they're in a department that's says they're shorthanded. So why should
Yes,
we
they
take
are
on things that
shorthanded.
we don't need to do? You can,
Well,
most people get that
yes.
online, or they go to the currency exchange and get it. And we're taking business away from the currency exchange. We killed Blockbuster and Hollywood Video.
Oh, well, we've had that conversation. I disagree completely with that statement, so let me just say, we were not the demise of Blockbuster, okay? I will not let that stand.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you.
We are a service.
Yes, it is a service to the community, and it is she's putting it in there because she's researched it. It is what other libraries are offering. It may or may not fit. You know, the stickers are only for the village. If you don't live in the village, the stickers are of no use to you. And the licensing is, you know, the Secretary of State comes in and pulls the money directly out of an account. I'm not too comfortable with that, actually. Would be another bank account, so.
And what was the licensing there?
The car sticker, you get a car
License plate
license plate sticker.
Oh,
So libraries are,
so that's the other one, okay.
I'm surprised
I see
that libraries are doing that now, too.
Yeah.
Some libraries.
well, everybody was surprised that libraries would do passports, but it's turned out to be
Oh,
a
yes,
very, very
good.
convenient
My,
thing.
most libraries aren't as short-staffed as we are.
Exactly. But you do remember that we budgeted the vacancies.
Yes.
There's an expectation that we
And I
will
think
continue
it's
to be
wonderful they're
short-staffed.
investigating things that are potential. Thank you.
There you go. Richard said the DMV is appointment only.
Pardon?
The DMV is appointment only.
Still?
I believe so.
I thought it changed.
Yeah, no, I just
No,
recently,
not
someone
for
indicated to
stickers.
me that they had to
Mm.
make an appointment because they went to the door and then they were turned away because they did not have an appointment online, so
Are they under 65?
I don't know. I think
Because if you're 65 or older, you don't need an appointment. I could
that's
attest to
wonderful
that.
news.
An appointment to buy stickers?
Yeah,
The
see?
DMV's by appointments, so they wouldn't
I didn't
let
think
them-
stickers was.
In any case, it's a convenience.
Whatever.
and-
I was there to renew my license a few months ago. People were just walking up and buying them.
They
Maybe that was
changed-
COVID you're talking about.
They
This,
change stuff all the time.
I was there 2 months ago.
I understand.
I saw it. It hasn't
fully
changed,
agree.
I don't think.
I have a
Okay, are there
suggestion
any
before we
other
get to,
ques- all right.
yeah, before we get to the adjournment, I have a suggestion and some concerns. You know, from the beginning, when we started scheduling these meetings, everything has felt extremely rushed. I don't feel like the staff has had enough time. They've been so stressed out and overworked to get this together. You wanted to have it on Friday. It wasn't possible. We got it Monday night. That gave us 4 business days to review the binder. We've been getting additional materials all week long. I got some just yesterday. We got more today in emails. There has not been enough time to go through all these documents properly. I don't feel like I'm informed enough. Sikich, I feel, should have been here to present the budget. They created the budget. They should be here presenting it. I have questions for them. I have questions. I'm sure I'm going to have lots more once I get through all of this stuff. I am not comfortable moving forward with this process at this point. So what I would like to suggest is that we reschedule Monday's meeting for a later date when Sikich can be present and we can have a question and answer and a proper presentation.
Well, the problem with rescheduling the meetings would be the public hearing and the publicizing of the budget and appropriations ordinance. That would be the issue.
What's
That
the
could-
issue?
Because it has to be scheduled so many days from, like, the tentative budget is approved, and then the public hearing is based on that.
Yep.
And that's the way it's done. So it'll pull us way out
We
past
have until the end
budget
of
period.
August to
We
pass
have
the
until the
budget.
end of August.
Mm,
Yes, we do.
Our budget period begins July. That was why the schedule was set. I
Well,
mean,
but we
I don't
have
see.
until the end of August to
Legally, we
pass
have
it.
until
So
the end
I'm
of
trying to
August.
understand what you needed. What do you need? You want Sikich to come here?
I need more time to go through what we've
We
received,
got
and I
all
do
of
need
this
Sikich to come here, yes.
Yesterday, plus from what they're saying, there's more stuff. I'm sorry.
I think the
it's overwhelming.
information they received yesterday was because somebody else requested it, or am I confused?
Yes.
Trustee McCullough requested the supplemental documents on Tuesday, and so
So that's
We
the
put it
information that
together.
you gave all of them.
we had it available there, yes.
So they didn't need to
Wednesday
get it,
morning.
you just
I came
included
in and
them in
picked
it.
it up, yes. We needed to
Okay.
get it.
Well, yeah, I asked you to let me know if you wanted it dropped off, but
We don't need you doing that with
So that was
a
the-
load of work that
You've
you already
got too
have.
much
You
to
don't
do
need
as
to
it
be
is,
doing that.
Cindy.
So
I mean,
my-
you're one person.
My point is, the reason we have supplemental information is because trustee McCullough requested all of that.
And that's great, I'm not
No,
saying
it
That's
it's,
should've-
fine, he has every
So-
right to.
And as far as
should
having
have been in the
Sikich here,
original binder. It should have been in the original binder. Rich pointed that out to me, that the material you were asking for, even though the ones you brought in had the numbers from the workshop, but the schedules were in the original budget last year. I was trying not to do the 365 pages, but as it turns out, we have quite a few pages here.
It's a little less.
yeah, so we got
So back
information
to
Monday, we
needing-
got information Wednesday, we got information today. Sikich is not here. This is not a proper process.
so you want
Okay.
Sikich to be here to answer questions that you
Correct.
have for him?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I will say that all of the numbers in this budget were given to him, and he, compiled it and rolled it all up into one, but he had to be given the numbers. He doesn't know enough about the library to create the numbers and pull the numbers. So he kept, asking Lisi for reports on the salaries and, so we have given him all of these numbers. And he can certainly come here and speak to the numbers and then speak to the revenue and all of those things. but-
Okay.
beyond.
But the procedure that he followed is no different than what Greg did. The supervisors put all this information together, they got all these numbers together, and they gave it to Greg. Then he compiled the report, which is what we received. So the
Well, it's
process
not,
is the
I can't
same.
say that it's exactly the same. The sheets are the same.
Mhm.
You know, I was not participating in the process with Greg and Susan, so I can't really speak
Right.
to that process.
Right.
You know, in its entirety, but I'm using the same format,
Yes.
and the accountant is bringing, you know, that level of expertise to it.
Okay.
So I'm
So,
fine with him coming, I just, you know, the numbers are our numbers we gave him.
I understand that.
Okay.
so for Monday's meeting, could Sikich be there to answer your questions?
I can ask him that.
I
if he
don't
can
think
be
I'm
there.
going to be ready by Monday.
Oh, okay.
No,
There's too much information. We didn't have enough time to
So
go
when do
over
you
this.
think you're going to be ready?
Maybe by the end of the week, maybe the next week. I don't know.
There's too
You know,
much-
there are
we have
lives
to
outside
get-
of this
we
thing.
have our meeting, too,
It's
on
not
Wednesday.
conducive to having 3 meetings in 1 week. We have a regular budget or a board meeting next
You know
week
what?
as well.
This is, you know, unfortunate, but this is what a budget process does. It does add more meetings, but I'm just trying to figure out, what do the three of you want to do? Because it doesn't sound like we plan on passing a budget.
Prior to last year, we didn't have these workshops. The budget was just presented and they
And
voted on it.
everybody voted
just
yes.
More or less.
Right, but
Prior to
you and I
last
were not
year,
on
you
this
weren't
board
on the
then.
board, Joe.
I
It's not
know.
the point. The point is, no one bothered in the past, and I want to accommodate you now. This is all because I'm the one who decided we should have a budget review process. So tell me what you need.
I'm telling you that I need more time and I need
How much
signature.
time do you need?
I need, today is
depends on
Friday,
what our budget-
and then we already have a meeting next week, so how about the week after that, so we don't have to double up on meetings again next week?
Well, we have all the meetings scheduled, so what do you want to do?
Reschedule,
Reschedule which meetings?
Monday,
To when?
I just said that.
To the following week.
And then we have to schedule another meeting to approve the budget.
Right.
And then we won't have a public hearing, so all that has to
We
be
will, we have to
rescheduled.
have a public hearing.
Well, we can't have it based on the dates that were already set, so we'd have to do the whole thing. So when do you want Cyndi to ask Sikich to be here?
I think that they could probably look into whatever dates they have available and
I
let
know,
us
but we need to be concerned when you're going to be ready, because we don't want to
I
have
don't
them
think
come.
I'm the only one here that does not feel
Well,
ready.
whoever what do you, the three of you need more time, so tell me, what do you need, so she can schedule him?
Seriously said the next week.
Yes, we just said
To
it 3 times.
understand and figure out all of this stuff that we're receiving.
I'm sorry that it's so complicated for you, so tell me what you need. I'm sorry, didn't even look at it that way. So tell me what the three of you need.
We just
and
told
can-
you, we need more time and we
I
need
know, how
Sikich
much
to come
time
here.
she needs to
Look
contact
into the
Sikich.
week after next.
So give me a date.
You have a calendar?
The week of the 23rd of May is, let's see, that's the week after the board meeting. That's the last week in May.
What days are you available that week?
Well, we all need to look into that.
Yeah, but you are the one that can work evening.
How
And
about the
what would this
25th?
meeting be that we're scheduling?
What
The
day would you do
25th is a Wednesday.
25th is a Wednesday.
And what would the meeting be called?
Special meeting of the board, just like tonight.
For the purpose of,
Having a
What was
presentation
Monday
from the
supposed to be?
accountant that made the
tentative
budget.
Getting closer to the
Tentative
tentative
budget?
budget. So what are we doing? You're all gonna go over these documents, which I was gonna do, finish them by this weekend, but you want another week?
We
I
also
can't finish
have to
this
get
by this
ready
weekend.
for the
Okay,
meeting
I'm
on
not
Wednesday.
arguing with you, I'm trying to understand. So what we're going to do around the 25th, is that the day you think is agreeable?
I believe it's the Monday meeting being rescheduled.
To Wednesday?
The following week, September 25th.
Okay, May 25th. So, let's see. The room is empty. Am I not seeing, this room is empty, right? This room is empty on the 25th.
Well, that's a plus.
I don't know how that worked out.
Oh, my
That
God.
worked out.
Well, watch, after we say,
Okay.
We
pick
can
that
always
date,
go
something will pop
upstairs.
up.
My other
Well, hold on.
question,
May,
let him,
Take a look at the board.
Yeah, it was
boardroom.
open as well.
And the boardroom, just in case you need a
So
special
May
or a
25th,
closed session.
May 25th is going to be the tentative budget. Okay, and that's
May
if Sickage can
25th
come?
is going to be the budget review. From this coming Monday is being moved to the 25th, the budget
So
review.
that's considered budget review.
Well, we cannot have a tentative ordinance until we have a budget review.
Yes, I understand
So we're
that.
going to have another budget review, and then we're going to have another, then we're going to schedule a tentative
Then
budget.
we're going to schedule a meeting where you're going to adopt the tentative budget.
Okay, so when do we want to, okay, so we're going to have a budget review on the 25th. When do you want to schedule the tentative budget?
So then that comes back to you determining what the numbers are, and then Sickage going and
Right.
creating the ordinance,
So is
rolling
the
those
25th
numbers.
based on Sickage being able to attend?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd have to ask him if he can come on the
Okay.
25th.
So that's Wednesday.
So
and
the
then-
regular meeting in June is the 15th,
And
which
I
is 2
have a
weeks later.
question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, that means if you're going to have the tentative June 15th, you won't have the public hearing until July
Mhm.
15th?
You'd have the, so it's.
Or else
June
the-
15th.
Whatever
It
the
would be
board
in the
meeting
pa-
is.
It would be in the paper the next week,
Which week will it make the paper?
so the week after the board meeting.
Which board? I'm on May
June,
25th.
June
Where are you
15.
going?
June, if you have in the meeting for June 15th,
The tentative budget?
If it's approved. But
if it's approved at the June 15th meeting, then it would go in the paper the next week.
the 20th, Monday the 20th, say.
Yeah, that, I think it comes
And
out
then
on
you need, what, 30
Thursday,
days?
But it would be the
Wednesday,
week of the
Thursday,
20th.
the 22nd or the 23rd, Wednesday or Thursday.
Would make the paper, so then 30 days from the 23rd. So the 23rd it would make the paper? I don't know how the journal, I don't know
So-
when they,
Well, that's why Margaret is telling me that everything has to be ready and
The Friday before.
be at the paper Friday morning, the 17th. So that gives, Sickage less than
2 days.
48 hours, yeah, to do it. But, he said if the numbers were clear on Monday, he could have got it done for Wednesday.
well,
So
okay.
it really depends on
And the-
consensus.
So you have to have the information to the journal by that Friday.
Yeah.
You think that's doable? I thought it was Monday, but I'm probably
No.
wrong.
But, there is 2 weeks between the review and the tentative budget. So I would imagine
None of that matters. It's the tentative budget that needs to be clear
Right,
and
but
and
I would imagine
approved.
the tentative budget that's going to be presented is not going to change drastically from the review.
Yeah, it's the review meeting where you determine the numbers. So he'll have 2 weeks to get the,
2 weeks to do that.
And
Yeah.
you just normally just vote for the tentative budget on the date.
So then when are we voting for the tentative, when are we approving the tentative budget?
it'll be up on the agenda for June 15th.
Okay, and then you proceed with the publication and the public hearing. So you're saying,
So then, 30 days after the publication or 30 days after the?
it's 30 days from the publication. The publication needs to be available to the public for 30 days. And then we'd schedule the public hearing.
So then you'd have to do it at the August meeting, which would be the 17th.
For a public hearing from June 15th? What's going
Are
on
you
here?
wanting to schedule a special meeting? Is that what you want to do?
Okay, June 15th is when we vote for the budget. When does it go into the journal? The 17th?
No, the following Thursday.
No.
Oh, it goes to the journal that
When-
Friday.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, you're right. When will it be publicized in the paper? That's the date
The
that,
following Wednesday.
I'm sorry?
Thursday's the 21st.
June 21st.
That's Tuesday.
June 23rd.
June 23rd, okay, so then 30 days after that is when we can have a public hearing.
Okay.
And that's, I don't have a calendar, I'm just writing
I don't
down.
Well, I don't believe, it's after the 20th.
So 30 days from June 23rd is?
July 23rd, I think.
Okay, so 7/23, and we're going to miss the
That's a Saturday.
July board meeting.
Tom, what were you going to say? Tom has his hand raised. He has.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If I may, the Journal publishes on Wednesday, June 22nd, not Thursday,
June-
June 23rd.
Okay.
But I think we're short 1 or 2 days still.
Well, we can't be short. That 30-day thing.
I'm saying we would be short to the July regular scheduled meeting in order to do a public hearing just before the July regular meeting and then vote on the.
Okay, so June 23rd, it makes the paper. 30 days after that, I think Becky said is around July 23rd. So as long as we get 30 days in.
So July 23rd is a Saturday,
Okay.
so then it would be that week of the 25th sometime?
Public hearing usually, I mean, seriously, an hour is tops, right?
No,
Usually.
last year it went
Well,
for
last year
hours.
was a different year.
So the public all right, so do we want to approve the budget after the public hearing on the same day since we're all here?
Well, that's what we're going to try to do this month.
Okay, so now we're on July 23rd, which is when we're
23rd
going to...
is a Saturday.
Okay, so
do
I'm,
it the next week.
The
then.
next week is the 25th.
okay, so 7/25, what day of the week is that?
Monday, 27th is a Wednesday.
Okay, how about room available?
Oh, that's not available. Mm. Let's see.
I'm sorry, I know
No,
this is...
it's not available at all. 25th, the Monday is, the room's available.
Okay, for a
That day that week.
public hearing, and we can have the, what's it called? We can approve it the
We
same
can approve the,
day, right?
the tentative budget has to be approved 30 days prior to that. So
That's June 15th.
I know. So
Okay.
what I'm asking is, then, that is when we approve the regular budget.
The ordinance, right?
Yes.
So on the 25th, the room's available, and we can have the public hearing and the ordinance. Does anyone have their calendars? I don't have my information, but oh well. Is it working for anyone? Becky, is it working for you?
Yes.
Okay.
The 25th of May is a
July
problem for
25th
me.
is a Monday.
23rd, Joe.
May 25th is a problem
Yeah,
for you? Oh, gosh, okay. so
May 25th is a problem?
yes.
When are you available?
Any other day that week.
Actually, that's July.
July
25th.
No, May
No, May
25th is the
25th
budget
is when they were going to
meeting.
have the meeting instead of Monday.
Oh, yes, yes.
What day of the week is May 25th?
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Sue, do you know how you are?
I don't know how I am.
What day that week would be good for you, Beck?
Pretty much any day but Thursday.
Any day but Thursday.
That Monday is good for me if you want to do Monday.
What is available here other than Wednesday and Thursday?
Monday's not available.
Okay, then we have Tuesday and Friday.
Tuesday not available. Thursday, Becky's not available.
What's available, this is a
Friday's not
budget meeting.
But maybe we could just do it in the,
In
Can
the
we just
boardroom.
do it in the boardroom?
it's only a budget review, I don't know.
No, it's gonna
Well-
be, how about in the upstairs area where it's bigger? I'm thinking people are going to come to this.
The problem with that is that we do not have the microphones up there. So the only time that we did do something upstairs was for the interview process, where we just started it with one microphone and a public comment microphone,
right.
and we don't have the capacity to do that.
But in the boardroom itself, we don't need. a
In the boardroom itself?
Booked as well.
Okay.
So Monday doesn't work, Wednesday doesn't work, Thursday doesn't work. There's Tuesday and Friday, that's all that's left.
Tuesday's fine, Friday's fine.
Well,
Well, she has no room for us.
she's looking at availability.
I thought he had room
Boardroom,
for Tuesday.
boardroom's available on the 27th, which is a Friday.
That's good.
Why don't, is it,
It's a Friday before the holiday, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's why it's available.
yeah,
Yep.
do you have a
Oh,
problem
wait,
with
that's,
that?
No.
okay, that's Memorial Day weekend, I think that's not gonna work.
I wasn't planning.
Okay.
How about
I get
Tuesday?
no life, so it's fine.
Tuesday the 24th.
I'm sorry, Joe. What'd you say?
Tuesday the 24th.
Tuesday the 24th, the room is not available.
Any room?
Can't
Boardroom
switch
is
anything
not,
around?
um, Studio B is available downstairs, that's all.
Could we use that room downstairs?
Well, it holds 20 people.
Oh.
So the board, it's about the size of the
I
boardroom.
think we're going to need some room.
Oh.
Space, I mean.
Yeah, we have union negotiations that night.
So, okay, we've stated before, we don't want to do it on a night when you have union negotiations, right?
Oh, God, no, yeah, that would be a lot.
We
Wow.
don't want to cause
So
any
the
issues.
25th of May seems, that Wednesday seems really the only option for that week.
Well, how about going, does
Is
it
this
have
a
to be the
holiday still?
25th? Can it be
The
sooner?
31st, Tuesday the 31st?
That's okay.
Tuesday the 31st?
Yeah.
Fine with me.
Okay, now this is for the budget.
The budget review.
Budget review. Not May 25th.
So instead of May 16th at 6:30 next week, Monday, it would be May
31st,
31st.
Tuesday.
Is that okay for Becky?
Yep.
May
She shook her
31st,
head. What
yes.
day of the week is that?
That gives her
no
2
idea.
weeks.
The Tuesday after the holiday.
That gives her 2 additional weeks to review.
Tuesday, May 31st is
That's
a budget review.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the meeting where we discuss
Ask
the
questions.
tentative budget.
All right, so I'm looking it out for more.
Okay.
Tuesday. That's for the special.
Okay.
The 16th, and Tuesday on the 5/25.
And then, again, so Tuesday the 31st, instead of May 16th or May 25th, because that's not working. And then we have 6/15, June 15th for tentative budget.
Wait, I
Right.
can't hear you. June
Yes.
15th?
June 15th, right, tentative
So
budget.
the regular,
What day of the week?
At the regular
is
board
that?
meeting.
the regular
It's a
board
regular
meeting
board
of
meeting?
June.
Okay.
What day of the week is?
Oh, that's
It's
the
regular
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That's the
That
regular.
would be Wednesday.
Oh, it's
and
a board
that's
meeting,
the-
thanks.
And
No
that's
problem.
the
It's a
tentative.
long
The
night.
tentative budget.
Maybe not long, but just a lot of
So
numbers.
31st, June 15th, so that'll be at the regular board meeting.
Yes.
May
Okay.
31st, June 15th, and then what?
And
Yeah,
then what do we
what's-
have, June 23rd?
No.
Next
No,
one
that's
makes
the
paper.
publication
Yeah,
date.
that's why I
And
wrote
it's
that
June
down. Okay,
22nd, I
publications.
think,
Public
Rob
Public
said.
hearing, and then July was the 25th, or we have to
Yes.
adjust that now?
Is the public
We'll have
hearing.
to take a look at it.
Oh, wait, is that not working?
Well, she's booking right now the room for May 31st, so we can't look at the same time. But I believe when we did look, it was available, so I think it'd be okay.
Okay.
But just
May
give us
31st.
a
Well,
moment.
and if we're doing June 15th for the tentative, that's when we're already here for budget, board meeting, right?
Yes.
So that one we don't have to
Well, I'm
worry about.
But we have
concerned.
to
What's
wait the
after
30
June
days.
15th?
I
I'm worried about the
understand.
public
Well,
hearing.
right.
yeah.
What's after June 15th?
So. for the
July
public hearing,
25th, we think.
Maybe.
He's checking for availability.
We can do it later. Yeah, we can do it later. No one's gonna do it tomorrow. If you take a look at the July 25th date, for the public hearing and for the special board meeting, as the. July 25th, Monday? Right. Just wanted to double check what that was.
And that is a Monday?
I believe
I
that's.
have no clue.
It is Monday.
It is?
Monday, July 25th meeting. Public hearing.
So, the boardroom is not available, so you really couldn't have a special, you couldn't have a closed session. But if you're just doing open session, the room down here is available. There is a program, I believe it's Playbook, if I'm not mistaken. So the setup time would be a little bit difficult. We can speak with, Donna and see if maybe for that particular date, they can maybe utilize a different space temporarily.
So we don't know.
Well, we can go ahead and book it. The room's not available until 3:30, which is a pretty tight setup for all of us.
Oh, it's a switch around.
But we'll see. We'll at least put something in so we don't lose the space.
Right.
Okay.
So
Would it help if we made the meeting a little later? No, it's still,
no, because we want to make sure that there's enough time for public comment, and if that's like, we could go as long as you.
oh, it's a public hearing, never mind,
Because it's
yeah.
public hearing, it's not
Yeah,
public
it
comment.
could be, yeah, it could be, yeah.
So the sooner we
huge.
start it, the better.
You're right, okay.
Because you could possibly think that it might run such a long time, that's an eventuality that you would have to stop that. meeting, or maybe it was too late to actually do the budget, to approve it, and you'd have to come back another night or, to do it if it lasted that long. I would hope it wouldn't.
Well, I don't know, if we were there that long and we're all ready to approve it, I think we would just say, take a vote.
Well, I don't know. So we have 3 dates, May 31st, June 15th, July 25th.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask another question? My question is, Joe, do you plan on having a tentative budget of your own that you're going to present to us?
I will.
No? Okay, good.
I will, I said.
Thank you. This way, we all come in with general
open
ideas
mind.
and can discuss it. It's not going to be one-sided.
This is on June,
May 31st.
May 31st.
oh, May 31st, thank you.
Which is a Tuesday,
I gotta redo this.
and that's the budget review. So that's when we actually discuss what we will accept and what we,
And then on June
Deal.
15th, the tentative budget, and what do we,
In a board meeting.
in a board meeting.
and what do we do and say then?
We just vote if we accept what we voted, what we discussed on the 31st.
To post it, to publicize it in the paper.
And then it's publicized, 30 days later is when we have our meeting in July to pass it for the,
So we
Ordinance.
actually pass it on the 25th,
So if we want to,
totally
if
pass
we
it.
like it.
if we want to cut or add anything to the budget, which meeting is that happen at?
That would be the 31st, because that's our
Budget
tentative budget.
review.
If I'm not
The
mistaken.
31st is the budget review.
No, okay, if
And
I'm
that's
not
the meeting.
mistaken, once we do our budget review, then we pretty much have what we, as a board, feel is going to be our budget. Then we do our meeting on the 15th, where we have, we vote and say, yes, this is our tentative budget. So if we're going to change anything, or try and change anything, it's going to be May 31st.
So Sikich needs to know the numbers that the board wants in the tentative budget and ordinance, tentative budget and appropriation ordinance.
But
You need to
that's-
get those numbers from the 31st for
Right,
consensus.
right.
I give them to Sikich,
I got
creates
it.
it.
Yeah,
Works for
but
me.
from the 31st to the 15th is more than enough time for him,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
So if
Okay.
someone
So it
comes
isn't-
in and says, no more, this professional development has to be cut out of the budget, that should happen on the 31st.
Well, yes, I mean, it isn't that it can't happen later, but you got to go back and redo it. You
Then
got to
you're
go
gonna
back
have
and
to
redo the
redo it,
ordinance.
And it pushes us back further.
Yeah, because until it's final and passed, it's changeable, but you got to build in the time,
For
right?
example, Becky, everything we want to change, we'll talk about on the 31st, but if something comes in like these yearly contracts or whatever they are, by the time the ordinance is going to be approved, those numbers may get a little higher, because she may get more quotes in the mail. It's nothing, it's
I'm
not
not concerned about that
significant.
kind
Yeah,
of stuff,
okay.
that's fine.
No.
I just don't want a repeat of what happened last year.
We're 3-3 this year, we're not 4-3, so it won't be a repeat.
So we feel a bit confident that we're having these meetings on these dates then? Look good?
Yeah, the only thing that, if I may, that would be the July 25th, based on the fact that Playville's there. They have a very minimal setup. Usually it's on the stage. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that program, but it's a team program that they will put on a play at the end of the summer. So they do a lot of acting and coaching and practicing. So I would imagine that we could set up this part of the room. The stage would be kind of the issue, but we try to figure it out.
So is the stage set up for their?
It's empty.
Oh, okay, so
And
then,
they would be on the stage, so.
and when
maybe
does
we
that
can speak-
program end?
I believe it's 4-ish.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay,
say.
so you'd have to add all the tables and all these mics.
Right, so the tables is
Wow.
not really an issue, it's really
The mics.
putting the mics there, making sure that they're balanced as much as we can, because these microphones are not designed for.
Well, you know, we'll just deal with it. If you can't hear
Yeah,
us, we'll have to yell.
But we'll know, obviously, we'll speak to the staff and try to figure this out, and we'll know we should know by the meeting.
So you're saying this is still not permanent?
The 31st would be, the 15th would be, and I believe the 25th of July would be tentative, but I think by next week, Wednesday, at the regular meeting, we can have that pinned down.
Yeah, I mean, or earlier, just kind of talk
Or
to
earlier.
Donna and Arianne and see what's going on with Playbill.
Okey doke.
Is the public invited on the May 31st?
Sure.
These are all public meetings.
They're all public, because there's, open meetings, they're not closed sessions.
So just to clarify, on July 25th, is that just a special meeting, a public hearing?
And a public hearing,
That's
so
what I
two
wanted to
meetings
Special.
scheduled, like, right, 10 minutes. The public hearing will be first, say at 6:30 or 6:25, and then the regular special meeting will be at 6:30. They would start directly after. So you can start at that.
So Cyndi, my only question is, beside this stuff that I picked up yesterday, is there more in the way of documents that anybody requested that we should get?
Not really documents, but information. I've been emailing pretty much the last, 24 hours. Questions people have, information requests people have made, I've sent to all of the trustees.
Okay,
These questions that you've asked tonight will be sent to all the trustees.
okay. Okay,
As far as I know, there's been no documents.
Okay.
Requested.
so can I ask that this is enough documents and no more documents, because realistically,
I don't plan to ask for any more.
thank you, Joe.
That might be what you wanted to know.
Yes, it is. Thank you,
Okay.
Joe.
And
Maybe you
then
could
as
ask
far
me.
as the budget that's proposed, we find it on the last page, the entire library budget.
The entire library budget is the last page, yes.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at the binders, or the folders, rather. We're getting our agendas tonight, then?
That's for next Wednesday.
Yes.
And that's the packet. What isn't finished are the monthly statistics and the program list and the FOIA list. Those three things you'll get. Well, I was going to give them to you on Monday night, but now we're
That's
not
fine.
having Monday night, so I will send them along. But I want you to have all of this stuff. Everything else is ready.
And nothing is being changed on the agenda, to your knowledge?
No, nothing's being changed.
Thank you.
To my knowledge, I'm just going to add those three, finish those three parts of my report.
Thank you.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, do I have a motion to adjourn
Motion.
the special board meeting of May 13th, 2021? Can I have a
motion.
second?
Second.
Okay, Patty and Diane and Margaret, would you please call a roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld? Yes. Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Wozniczki?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Kean?
Yes. Okay. Meeting is adjourned at 8:59 PM. Thank you all for
Thank you.
everything. Appreciate it very much.